Hi, this is Bernard Ma, and in this video I want to talk about the trends in analytics. And I am very pleased. I'm here with my old friend Bruno Aziza, who probably doesn't need an introduction in this field, because we've known each other for the last 20 years, and you've been very vocal in this industry. You're very active on social media. You've written 2 books. And I think when we first met, you worked for Microsoft. Now you are with Oracle. What made you move across?
So quite a few things. I think the first reason for why I moved to Oracle is the people I get to work with. So my boss is T. Canon, who's someone I worked with at Microsoft, and he was there for 20 years. I was there for 7, and we did quite a few amazing things there. Second is really the technology. If you take a look at the breadth of technology that Oracle has available in this field, it's fairly unique. You know, Oracle is the leader in the database field, the leader in the application field, and also naturally a leader in the analytics field with an AI and cloud-first approach to the market. So I think it's pretty unique. And then finally, it really is meeting the ecosystem. You know, when I went through the interview loop, I really made sure that I could talk to the community, customers, and partners. And there's a huge amount of best practices that people might not have heard of before. And so I thought it was really an opportunity to kind of show what a large company like Oracle can provide in terms of innovation at scale across the world.
So what do you now do for Oracle?
So I run this team called Outbound Product Management, which is really focused on product strategy, customer advocacy, experience, and we work with analysts as well, just like you, to get feedback on what we're doing. And really, everything for us starts with the customer. And that's why I got this customer book here. That's the first initiative that I started when I moved here, is just talk to every single customer, because we have so much to learn from them. You know, we build great technology and we're obsessed about that, but it really only becomes real when they get value from it. And so we really drilled into the use cases, where they get value, why they chose Oracle, what are some of the areas that they're worried about, so we can help them innovate into the next phase of analytics.
So what do you see as some of the big trends in analytics? Or if you look maybe across some of your customers, the journey they have been on, what do you see? How do you see this field developing?
So as you know, it's a fast-moving space. It's very competitive, and there's certainly a lot of vendors that have a lot of technology. But if you look at the history of the last 30 years, there's really been 3 phases of innovation. The first phase was centralized IT, building dashboards and reports for business departments, and that provided value of centralization, security, governance, and it was great that way. But where it wasn't so great is it wasn't providing self-service capabilities to business users and folks like you and I. And so that was really the second phase, where vendors were able to provide more data to more people. And the assumption was there that if there are more people have access to more data, then we'll get better insights. And what I think we found is that lots of people walked away with data they weren't supposed to have on their laptops. And some of the decisions they made were maybe coming from data that wasn't clean or wasn't centralized or wasn't the version of the truth they need to work on, so it created silos. I think this third phase that we're entering is really, how do you bring those 2 things together? And how do you help now human and machine intelligence come together? A lot of organizations are worried about moving to AI too fast because they're afraid of machine kind of taking over human workloads, where some of the innovative companies are actually embracing that, but also realizing that the humans can help the machine. And so I think that's going to be the interesting trend, is both enabling AI to take on more workloads and also finding pockets where humans can make the machine better, which not many folks have been talking about.
Very good.
Yeah.
So can you share any customer stories, any customer insights where you say, actually, this really showcases some of the journey and how they've moved from the centralization to the insights, maybe augmented insights in the future?
There are quite a few examples. I mean, I'll take an example like Generali, thousands of users using HR data and analytics. Often people think that HR and finance data is not really sexy, but in your organization, that's the most business critical data. So we have this program where we expose best practices of customers, and Luca from Generali is definitely an episode you want to catch to find out how you can innovate in the HR field. There's also the example of a company like Riverbed, for instance. Bishma at Riverbed who was able to not just simply design a product, really, which is really an analytics product that was able to embrace machine learning to help people in the field make better decisions, and it ends up into a mobile application that people use their phone, where the phone now is pushing insights to you. So what's happening, I think, in the world of analytics is we're also moving from a world where people are at their desk looking at dashboards to a world where we're all mobile. I mean, you're a typical information worker, but how much time do you spend on your phone? And what can this phone do for you? So the area of innovation that we're really focused on is my phone knows a few things about me. It knows my location, it knows my habits, it knows my calendar, it knows the insights that I've consumed before, and so it starts pushing that out to you, so now you can make better decisions faster. And I mean, there is tens of thousands of examples just like that. But I would definitely catch the Bishma's interview on Riverbed, because he explains about this maturity.
On your channel, right?
It's on the channel called Destination Insight. Every Tuesday we have a new video, and it really is focused on best practices from customers, and we really encourage people to watch these videos. There's typically 3-6 minutes, and then connect with those leaders so you can learn from each other. We're really highly focused on the community.
Great. Is there anywhere where people can get hold of the customer book?
The customer book, the best way to get access to this information is to come to our events. So for instance, we have a summit called the Oracle Analytics Summit, which is this year, April 26th in Half Moon Bay in California. We're inviting our customers to join us for 2 days of content with partners and customers to really learn from each other. You know, it's interesting because you've got platforms like LinkedIn, where you're a great influencer and follow you all the time, where you can connect on best practices, you know, in a written form. But there's nothing like an in-person session. And so we've really focused this year's summit on how do we create a platform for customers to come together and exchange from each other. So that's what I would encourage them to go, is go to that link, register. You know, the attendance is free. And if you're selected to attend, you'll be there. Last year, the event was sold out in just a few days.
Very good. So you speak to a lot of customers. You have listened to customers sharing their stories. Do you see any common themes, any best practices, any mistakes to avoid? If you said, actually, these are the 2 or 3 things I see happening again and again and again as either good examples or not so good examples to avoid?
Yeah, I think the bad one is to be enamored with the technology, and I know that probably shocks you as a technology vendor, you know, but I would really advise customers to think about what is the problem they're trying to solve. What's 100%. Their goal, right? When they're done with their initiative, what is the outcome they're going to get? So that's probably the first one I would focus on is what's your goal? Another best practice that I've seen is people tend to focus especially inside large organizations, they focus on controlling rather than enabling to the goal. And so I would think about, when you're building an analytics solution, don't obsess so much about who's controlling the channel first. Obsess more about how together we're using data to innovate. I think a lot of these organizations get in their way, their own hierarchy get in their way, where, you know, who doesn't want more information? You know, I mean, there's no employee that would tell you, no, that's just too much information, right? So I think people need to relax that. Of course, you need to have a vendor that understands the security and compliance and governance and how to manage data, and once you have that as a foundation, then you can enable end users at large.
Very good. I couldn't agree more. So what's next for Oracle? Where do you see your own products going in the future?
Well, it's funny you're saying that, because in one of the latest Gartner reports, we just achieved what we call the visionary status. So that's why I have these glasses, because we like to talk about our vision. We have a big vision for customers, and we have a unique relationship with them because we have multiple touch points. You know, like any other vendor, unlike any other vendor, we really touch every persona that's involved in what you can call the analytics service of a company, right? We talk to developers, we talk to architects, we talk to business users, we talk to line of business users of our own applications. And so what we're seeing is, how can you enable all these personas to work together to provide better answers and faster answers? You know, we call this the flywheel of insights. So this idea that better data, more data will drive to more insights that are either generated by humans or generated by machines. In the end, you know, the goal of analytics is really to drive better actions, to drive bottom line. So we don't want to obsess over the technology itself. We're really more interested in involving all the people. And when people can work together and their systems can work together, now you get better results and better value for those companies.
Very good. Thank you so much, Bruno. As always, a real pleasure. If you want to find out more, head to their Destination Insight channel, where you can find lots of interesting customer interviews. As always, pleasure, Bruno.
Thank you so much, Bernard.
Cheers.